is early 57 BCE. The shock of Caesar's triumph over the Helvetii still echoes across Gaul, unsettling every tribal chieftain. Uneasy leaders, some bearing tribute, seek Rome's goodwill in an effort to avoid a fate like that of the Helvetii. Yet, on the northern horizon, ominous rumors spread of a fierce Belgic alliance preparing to resist Rome's growing presence. Another collision of armies looms, and all of Gaul braces for the next phase of Caesar's relentless campaign. In the wake of Caesar's victory, the Helvetii were compelled to return to their original valleys, effectively turning them into a buffer between Roman-held territory and the Germanic tribes to the north. Within his Commentari de Bello Gallico, Caesar depicts himself almost as an arbiter of regional geopolitics. The verbs he employs, iusit imperavit, ordered, commanded, reveal a level of authority that, at least outwardly, the Gauls appear to accept. Buoyed by his successful campaign, Caesar found various Gallic peoples dispatching envoys to pay respect and request permission for a grand general assembly. The Gauls hoped this gathering might resolve long-standing rivalries, especially those that had drawn in foreign allies like the Germanic Suebi. Even so, the atmosphere was tinged with wariness. As Caesar solidified his hold on central Gaul, many chieftains recognized that Rome's looming power, while promising security, could just as easily become the engine of a new wave of conquest. Caesar, acceding to these requests, set both date and location for the meeting. According to the account, the formal goal was to mitigate the rivalries that had driven some tribes to seek support from the Suebi, Germanic warriors, who, once admitted into Gaul, had not left. Caesar's influence thus extended to Gallic internal diplomacy as well. He wanted to understand the relationships among the various nations, to contain further disruption, and simultaneously to consolidate his position as the defender or ruler of an ever-expanding territory.
Did you know that most people who watch our documentaries aren't subscribed yet? If you enjoy animated maps and history, join our community. Leave a like and subscribe so you never miss the next episodes.
Central to Gallic concerns was the Germanic king Ariovistus, leader of the Suebi, who had long occupied eastern Gaul, levying tribute, taking hostages, and bolstering his power among local tribes. According to Caesar's own Commentari, multiple Gallic allies, notably the Aedui, grievously complained of Ariovistus' growing menace, pleading for Roman intervention. Sensing both moral pretext and strategic gain, Caesar dispatched a series of embassies, demanding that Ariovistus return hostages and exacting tributes. Ariovistus, previously acknowledged by the Roman Senate for certain prior alliances, rejected Caesar's sudden interference. In his view, the lands he controlled had been rightfully conquered. Rome had no business meddling there. The discussions quickly degenerated, ending in stone and arrow throwing. With negotiations shattered, Caesar advanced with roughly 6 legions, totaling 30,000 to 35,000 soldiers, forcing Ariovistus into open confrontation. The ensuing battle proved ferocious. Ariovistus reportedly fielded 15,000 to 20,000 Germanic warriors. Some accounts suggest even more, gathered behind wagon barricades filled with their families. Despite the Germans' desperate resistance, Caesar's disciplined legionaries prevailed, driving a chaotic rout. Many Suebi perished while fleeing toward the Rhine. Survivors, including women and children, faced capture or enslavement. Sources refer to a true slaughter, suggesting thousands of fatalities. Ariovistus himself disappeared in the pandemonium, and his family shared the grim fate of his warriors, massacred or taken captive. In classic Caesar style, the Commentari depicted this victory as a righteous move to safeguard allies, yet the sheer scale of the dead, wounded, and enslaved revealed a far more ruthless objective: securing permanent Roman dominance. By stationing his legions to winter beyond Rome's traditional frontiers, Caesar left little doubt that this wasn't merely a brief intervention. It was the foundation of a lasting conquest built on discipline, fear, and a methodical extension of Roman power. The second year of Caesar's campaign, 57 BCE, saw the action shift decisively north. According to his own Commentari de Bello Gallico, Book 2, Caesar learned that the Belgic tribes, alarmed by Rome's swift subjugation of central Gaul, had formed a large coalition. Caesar claims they could field up to 288,000 warriors in total. Recognizing the looming threat, he swiftly advanced with an expanded force of 8 legions, roughly 45,000 men by modern estimates, a move he admits was undertaken without explicit Senate authorization. Caesar details multiple major engagements, naming tribes like the Nervi, Morini, and Atrebates among those he crushed. Using Rome's trademark siege warfare, engineered ramparts, siege towers, and disciplined infantry, Caesar dismantled fortified Belgic strongholds, often referred to as oppida. Despite the Belgae's considerable numbers, Caesar's rigorous tactics and cohesive leadership proved decisive. The final holdout was the Attuatoci, entrenched behind steep cliffs on 3 sides and fortified by double walls on the 4th. Caesar's legions constructed a large siege tower, prompting the defenders to mock the Little Romans for daring to move such a cumbersome machine. But once the tower advanced, the Attuatoci requested peace, surrendering what they claimed were all their weapons. Caesar, suspecting deceit, maintained tight vigilance. When the Attuatoci launched a sudden night attack, hoping the legions were off guard, they were repelled, leading to a thorough Roman victory. With resistance shattered, Caesar reports that he sold 53,000 prisoners into slavery, an act underlying both the ferocity of the campaign and the extent of Rome's dominance. By the year's end, the Belgae were largely subdued. Caesar withdrew to Italy to address pressing political affairs, leaving behind legions firmly established in Belgic territory. Although Caesar emphasized the scale of the enemy, 288,000, and Rome's discipline, modern scholars note that his figures may be inflated, serving to magnify Rome's triumph and the aura of his leadership. Nonetheless, the conquest of the Belgae demonstrated Caesar's blend of engineering prowess, relentless offense, and harsh reprisals, methods that would soon echo in his continuing campaigns across Gaul. By early 56 BCE, Rome was sliding into chaos. Pompey and Crassus, the other 2 members of the first triumvirate, often clashed more than they cooperated. Their divergence left space for street factions to battle openly, undermining the political and economic reforms Caesar had introduced. Far away in Gaul, Caesar worried these achievements could be overturned by hostile senators if his allies failed to maintain order. Seeking to salvage their alliance, Caesar summoned a conference in April 56 BCE, held in Lucca in northern Italy. There, he forced a renewed accord. Pompey and Crassus would serve as joint consuls in 55 BCE. Upon finishing their consulship, Pompey would govern Hispania, Crassus would take Syria, and Caesar's own proconsulship in Gaul and Illyricum would extend for another 5 years. This arrangement guaranteed that his reforms and the power base they supported would not be casually dismantled in his absence. With the pact reaffirmed and his allies stabilized, Caesar returned north to address growing crises in Gaul, relieved that his position at home appeared secure, even as Rome itself remained on the brink of new unrest. No sooner had Caesar returned from the Conference of Lucca than he faced new uprisings across northwestern Gaul. Realizing many tribes now grasped his intent, lasting Roman occupation rather than mere protection, he acted swiftly, splitting his forces for multiple operations. In the spring of 56 BCE, Caesar dispatched Titus Labienus and a single legion, roughly 5,000 Roman infantry, along with auxiliary cavalry to secure the Rhine frontier. Ever mindful of a possible Germanic incursion, Caesar feared that Suebi warriors, potentially several thousand, might cross the river and bolster any Gallic rebels. Labienus' mission was clear: hold the line against would-be allies from beyond the Rhine ensuring Rome's growing grip on Gaul remained unchallenged in the east. Meanwhile, in the north, Caesar deployed 2 additional legions, around 10,000 Roman troops, to confront the Morini and the Menapii, Belgic offshoots adamantly opposed to Roman rule. Ancient accounts suggest these tribes could rally some 15,000 to 20,000 warriors, scattered in small hamlets across dense woodlands. Using quick strikes and ambushes, the Morini and Menapii repeatedly harassed Roman foragers, threatening the army's vital supply routes. By targeting these rebellious pockets, Caesar aimed to eliminate northern resistance before it could gain momentum, and thus ensure that Rome's expanding footprint remained secure on every front. Simultaneously, Publius Licinius Crassus, commanding 2 legions, about 10,000 men, headed into southwestern Gaul. There, various Aquitanian tribes, loosely capable of fielding some 20,000 warriors, had aligned with roving Germanic bands and begun raiding Rome's allies. According to Caesar, these confederations tested Roman resolve, hoping that distance from Caesar's main force would grant them an advantage. Crassus's mission was to crush such alliances and affirm Rome's authority in the region, ensuring the southwest would not turn into a safe haven for further revolt. Caesar personally retained the remaining 2 legions, circa 10,000 infantry, plus support units, to tackle the Veneti, a maritime people allegedly detaining Roman envoys. Skilled sailors and capable of fielding thousands of shipborne fighters, the Veneti dominated trade routes off Brittany. Building a fleet on the Loire, Caesar clashed with the Veneti near the Gulf of Morbihan. While the exact number of Roman ships remains uncertain, Caesar had constructed a fleet specifically to counter the powerful Veneti navy, which fielded approximately 220 ships. Despite facing large Gallic vessels adapted to surging Atlantic tides, manned by an estimated 4,000 to 5,000 Veneti sailors, Roman engineering and discipline prevailed. Caesar's men employed special hooks to cut enemy rigging, neutralizing their naval advantage. This tactic allowed the Romans to board and capture or destroy nearly the entire Veneti fleet. Once victorious, Caesar imposed a fierce reprisal. Tribal elders were executed, and surviving Veneti, reaching thousands, were sold into slavery. Thus ended 56 BCE with a stark demonstration of Roman naval ingenuity and a clear warning that Rome's authority would be enforced at any cost. By the close of that year, Caesar had stretched his legions across Gaul, securing the Rhine frontier, rooting out northern dissent, and crushing southwestern alliances. Yet a greater reckoning loomed just beyond the horizon, as rumors of fresh Germanic movements hinted at one of the bloodiest campaigns in Roman memory. Caesar's appetite for conquest showed no sign of waning. His subsequent actions would shock even those accustomed to his relentless drive. If you enjoy this deep dive into Caesar's evolving Gallic War, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications. We'll soon reveal his most brutal chapter yet.